Welcome to Yoga Biz Camp with myself, Michael J. I'm a yoga business coach with 25 plus years of experience as a creative, a total tech geek, and a yoga business owner. Thanks for joining me on Yoga Biz Camp, a new episode. This week I have the wonderful Lisa from Yoga Pod in Tucson, Arizona. You will hear me with my Britishness that call it Tucson, Arizona several times. Please forgive me, Lisa. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome to another episode of Yoga Biz Camp. I'm very excited to have Lisa Cutts from Tucson Yoga Pod. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
so
you
great
for having me.
Oh, it's so
Yes.
great to have you here. And you were another recommendation from our amazing friend, Connie from Pixality Design.
Oh, love her.
Yeah. And I'm just going to start off by reading your bio, if that's okay.
Okay. Oh, sure.
So it all started back in late 2017 with Brian and Lisa Cutts started planning for Lisa to retire for the second time. Not one to sit still, Lisa went back to work after 18 months of retirement once before. As a corporate executive in the enterprise software space, Lisa traveled extensively and was able to visit yoga studios all over the world. During this time, she developed her vision for the perfect yoga studio, a beautiful spa-like and welcoming environment where yoga is demystified through exceptional instructors who lead students on a journey where yoga is accessible to absolutely everyone. Fast forward to finding the perfect location, Brian started working with architects to design a state-of-the-art studio. Excited to finally open our doors in 2020, COVID hit and delayed the grand opening until late May 2020. After a few weeks, we shut the doors with the rest of Tucson and reopened with limited capacity September 2020. It's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride.
Yeah, we will get into that. So I would love you to just give me kind of a background of, because I think you come from a very corporate background.
Yes.
And I'd love to know that journey to, why and how you opened a yoga studio, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. I always thought I would do something. And my sister and I talked for years. She also left the corporate space and has her own business now. But we always thought I would open a clothing boutique.
Ah.
But yes, interesting. But then the internet happened. And so you can click a button, right? And shopping isn't a social event like it used to be. And so we started going on these health retreats, and I have always loved yoga. And so we went on these health retreats, and there was this one in particular in Bali back in 2015. And I said, it's a yoga business.
It just clicked.
It just clicked, and our wheels started spinning, and so that's when it happened. And then I just started planning, and here we are.
So you specifically like hot yoga. Was that
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. After I did yoga on and off for years and years. But then in 2009, after a serious illness, my daughters introduced me to a hot yoga studio in town, and I fell in love. I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? My monkey mind is slowing down. My body's getting stronger. I mean, it was just amazing. And it was at that point, and I was hooked.
Well, what do you think it is about the hot yoga? What is that? What's that thing that got you?
That got me. So first of all, I felt like I could do it. Second of all, I love the heat. I live in Tucson. It's 100 degrees today. It's, heat does not bother me. Yeah. And also what I really was drawn to was the sequence of it. Yeah. I felt like I could continue to perfect and get better and not be lost.
Yeah. Can we just touch on that a little bit? Because I had a conversation about that yesterday.
Yes.
And that, so I work with a few studios that are Ashtanga based, which is, primary series. It's a set sequence. But I think what draws people to Ashtanga yoga, tell me if I'm wrong, and the hot yoga series is it's measurable. And I think there's something meditative about not having to think about what's next. You know what's coming next. And I think after years, it just becomes a natural thing. But also what I mean by measurable is you can feel from where you started to where you are now, a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And it's measurable. And also when you don't do it, you can feel a difference as well, because your body craves that, what is it, ritual or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay, back to Bali.
Yes.
Back to Bali, and you're gonna open up a yoga studio. So from Bali to opening, how did that actually come about?
Oh wow! So several plans. I having been in business, I have to have a business plan. So I started writing the business plan and all about, okay, if you're going to do this, what's the thing? Why is it different? And so focusing on that, and having been to yoga studios all over the world, I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. And what I really loved was when I walked into a yoga studio and everyone was so friendly and I didn't have to think about anything. Everything was there. If I didn't have my yoga mat, they had a yoga mat. If I didn't have a towel, they had a towel. So that got my wheels spinning on, okay, it needs to be something that is focused on an incredible guest experience.
Yeah, bang on. Honestly, it is. It is, and it's even. I think I would say even goes before the customer walks in, right?
Oh,
when
absolutely.
They're researching you and the website, which I know you've got a wicked website with Connie.
Thank you.
But people want to get the feels before.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
So they want to get the feels before. So that also speaks to it's important to develop a brand, a consistent brand, and people know, what it is. What are they going to expect every time they walk in? If they see something from us, what's it going to be? So that consistent brand experience as well.
So corporate, done a business plan. And so did you open, were you looking close after the business plan, or was the business plan just written way before?
I started the business plan way before, because I had to figure out, how am I going to pay for this thing? And so, and then that didn't go as planned, but, so I did a business plan, just my background. And
which I just want to stop there. That's your superpower, right? I mean, I think that people bring different things to the table, and you came to it from this place of, planning and having systems and all of that stuff, where some people come into it with a marketing background like I did. Some people don't have a plan and wing it and learn along the way. But I do think that, you having that is kind of a superpower, because it's all kind of thought out ahead of time.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, we do have an entire plan, and we updated it and we follow it, and all of those things. Yes. Then, so we had to, you hear it in real estate all the time, location, 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 right? So did tons of research on the right location. And from the get-go, I knew that we weren't going to be for everyone, and I had to be okay with that. I can't cater to everyone. So I looked at all kinds of things. I looked at demographics, some things, the psychographics, all of the things. And our first location fell through. And then the second location, which is where we are right now, just happened upon me. One of my friends, she owns a Revolve studio. It's a cycling studio in the same plaza. And she said, Lisa, I think they have a space. And I said, what? They don't advertise. So she got me in touch, and we have a beautiful location. And
yeah. So, I mean, you really put a lot of thought into that location. And
yes.
also, I think knowing that you're in a plaza probably comes at an extra price than,
yes.
A little corner somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, if we follow that back all to the guest experience, the plaza is part of the experience. So, I mean, farmers markets on the weekends, and there's always something going on.
So your location is in front of a lot of eyeballs.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you find this building, and I know your husband was a big part of this plan too.
Mm-hmm.
So what does he bring to the table that helps?
Oh my goodness. He is, he's a saint. So I had this vision, and then he went to work and made a reality, taking care of all of the little things. Like, he contacted the architects. I would come up with this wild idea, and I'd say, okay, I want this. And he made it happen. So he's really the magic behind how smooth the environmental systems, how clean everything is, how beautiful everything is in the studio. And it was really in his wheelhouse because he's an engineer. So he loved all of that. Yeah.
And so you definitely need to have that kind of brain for the heating systems. And I'm just going to read this from your homepage.
Sure.
Your experience is everything. Our studio was intentionally designed with the latest in yoga studio technology and environmental systems, including infrared heat, medical grade air filtration, and an antimicrobial flooring. So you can simply focus and enjoy the yoga experience you've been searching for. Can you talk about that stuff a little bit?
Yes, I can. So we talked about, I love hot yoga.
Yeah.
What I don't love is the hot air blowing on you. So that's why we have the infrared heat. And I had experienced infrared heat at a couple studios. It's not a big thing here in Tucson. And I couldn't believe what a difference it made in the practice. I just loved it. So I was laser focused on that. The other thing, when I was visiting yoga studios, there's this thing that I refer to as the yoga funk. I know, and it's that smell after yoga class. You know, everybody's working so hard, but if you don't have a good ventilation system, it's like that haze of funk is. Yes. So I said, okay, we got to get that crap out of there. So we have our air filtration system. You know, it refreshes room air with outside air 12 times an hour.
Wow. So you're like an airplane.
Yes. So it's constantly recycling. And then we also have humidity, big humidifiers, but they're built into the HVAC.
Wow, that must have taken a lot of research just to figure all that stuff out.
Oh, yes. And Brian was in heaven. Yeah.
He geeks out on that.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Yes.
And tell me about your flooring. What's the difference with that?
So we have what's called bounce back flooring.
Okay.
And it's the same flooring that they use in some NCAA basketball courts.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
it's got a bit of cushion.
It's got a bit of cushion, and it's heat sealed. All the seams are heat sealed together. And then there's this coating on it. So it's antimicrobial. It's wonderful.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. All right. So you've done this amazing build out in this amazing location. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, how did you start finding your students, or how did they find you? Like, how did that? And also, let's talk about also that you opened in a period where people weren't doing much yoga.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So our build out took longer than we thought. So we had been, we took advantage of the farmers markets that were there in the plaza on the weekends, and people followed the journey. And we did some of that. We did some online classes. We did some community classes. And it's kind of grassroots, really.
Isn't that the best?
Yes, it really was.
Yeah.
And then when it was finally time to open, we were like, yes. And then COVID and the entire, as we know, world changed.
Yeah.
And so all of those folks we had signed up went poof. So we had to start over.
Yeah. So, but I love how they found you grassroots. But I mean, starting over, at least you had their contact information.
Yes.
Reconnect.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So, so when did you kind of officially open after
the whole thing, like after our kind of little open, September 2020.
Yeah.
And
were people still cautious then, or were they comfortable coming?
Oh no, very, very cautious.
Yeah.
We had limited capacity.
Yeah.
So we have 2 studio rooms, and we were only, and we had all the markings and everything. We only had 9 students in a room at a time.
Yeah.
So very limited capacity.
So tell me how, during all this, how did you build a team? Because I looked, and I think I counted, you have 28 or 38, but you have a lot. You have a lot of staff. So
a lot of staff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did you find your people?
So I found my people by first finding my leadership team. I know what I do well and what I don't do well. And so I had to find the perfect program director. And Shaylin is, she's a very well-respected yogi in town. She is very humble, and she gets the vision that we have, and she shares that with her whole heart. And so through that, and just people seeing that we were opening, people were applying.
Right.
And then word gets around.
Yeah.
And so people apply, and they go through an interview with Shay. They go through a demo with Shay. So she's she was so great at building a team of teachers, which she's now grown into. She now has leaders who have teams, and she's just done a great job. And then the other thing too is I didn't want teachers to have to worry about the front of house or the back of house.
Okay, yeah.
And so
separate that.
I have an operations person who I hired, and Sue, she was fantastic. She's now my marketing person, but we now have Michelle, and they handle all of the front desk stuff, all of that, the customer service stuff. Yeah.
I just want to stop on that because because quite a few of my podcasts lately with studio owners have been about this amazing structure of putting people into place. Mm-hmm. And I think I ran it on gut instinct by myself for the first little while, and when I had my studio, but I think a lot of people studio owners are afraid to invest in people and put them in place. And what I'm hearing from you and a lot of the studio owners that really rock it are it's important to put people in place, and and then your job then, I imagine, becomes empowering your team leads.
Absolutely.
And then their job is working with the people under them. So you've got a structure of a marketing person. What's the team leads now? So you've got I
have marketing, I have operations, I have programming, and then Brian, my husband, who's chief of stuff and things, and he handles the whole facility.
Chief of stuff and things.
Yes.
I love it. So then how's this? Can you talk about the structure under them?
Yes,
because absolutely. There must be clean in front. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Yeah. So we have a program. It's called Karma Yogis, and for a set shift of cleaning each week, they get a membership and other perks of being an employee. And so Brian works with all of them, and he has all these systems in place. This is how we clean. This is what we do, including laundry, all of that stuff. So that's the back of house and facilities. Then we have the front of house, which is our front desk and play pod staff, because we also have childcare.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's operations, and under operations. So everything to do with running the business, customer experience, any, people applying, hiring, managing people, training people for the front desk, reviews, events, that sort of thing. And then I have programs. My program director, Shay Lynn, she's in charge of all of the classes, hiring the teachers. I'm sorry? Subs, yes, yeah. Subs. And she also teacher training, workshops, that whole thing, anything to do with yoga.
Yeah. And I did notice you have quite a few workshops going on. Yes. You've got teacher trainings going on.
Yes.
And amazing. So that's such a great structure. And let's talk about this one. Do you have, and I'm sure from your background that you do, but you have everything documented in SOPs, like you have manuals for everything and systems for everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
It's a big job, right? When you
open it is a big job, and it's daunting.
Yes.
And we created them all back in 2020, and we've got updates everywhere, and
I always call those, and when I had my studio and business coach, it's a live document. So those operation manuals and systems, they don't kind of end because things change, and so they're constantly adapted to the need, right? Yeah,
correct. Yes.
Yeah. But how do they save the business? How do they keep the business so functioning, and it basically takes a lot of stuff out of your head and your team leads' heads, right? And puts it down on paper.
Yes. We have processes and checklists for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's down to Brian has them. Here's the recipe for how much lavender you put in the water for the lavender towels, down to that level of detail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, as somebody that has sold a business, mm-hmm. Just for the listeners, how important that is, because when you do go to sell a business, mm-hmm. you hand over these systems and it's like, here you go. This is how you run the business.
Yes.
And, that's such an important thing for mm-hmm. a sale of a business.
Absolutely. Yeah. They want to know that they'll be able to run it when you leave.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people think about those things as being really daunting, but I think that actually makes people's jobs easier.
My sister will say, Lisa, you have to get that out of your head.
Yeah.
And get it, in a document so someone else can do it.
Yeah.
And it frees up an enormous amount of brain space.
Yeah, even just simple things, how to open the studio and how to lock up the studio.
Yes, these are all the things you do before you walk out the door. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got this amazing team built. You've
Mm-hmm.
got students coming in. Um, let's talk about what I think your superpower is and you love talking about, and that is the guest experience.
Yeah.
So we've talked about, you're wowing people on the website. What happens when people walk through your front doors?
When they walk in the front door, they're greeted. Someone is always there. They're greeted by someone with at the front desk. And this sounds like a silly thing, but um, the front desk also has a custom light fixture that Brian made that's on brand. And behind our desk, we have a water feature. So
Oh,
you walk into this very serene feeling environment. And our team does a really nice job of trying to remember people's names, learning
yeah,
people's names.
100%.
Yeah.
People want to be noticed and acknowledged and
Yes, they
welcomed
do.
and looked in the eyes.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So then we check them and somebody can come in and they may have questions. Our front desk staff is trained. They know all about what we offer and all the amenities, and they'll take people on a tour so they can actually see the studio. And then we have our teachers who focus on their music, the environment, creating the classes, um,
And so they train to also try and learn the names as well and greet
yes,
people. And so they're kind of
yes,
handed off from the front desk people to,
mm-hmm.
right? So
Yes, saying
this
that
continuous experience.
this is Michael. It's his first class. He's new to yoga, so
Yeah.
the teacher will talk with you. Or this is Michael. He's here from out of town. He saw us on the website and he's excited to take your class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the front desk training?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get people on board with your mission, vision, values on the front desk?
So people typically come to us because they're familiar with that's what we're finding now. They're familiar with us and they want to be part of the community.
Yeah.
And we attract people who like us because we're that nice, friendly
Yeah.
community focusing on the guest experience. And
Yeah.
so they know when they're trained that it's going to be all about that, all
Yeah.
about the guest
Yeah.
experience.
And do you also train them on the pricing and when people, want to, we always say as consultants when we talk to people to try and avoid the drop-in, right? So
Yes.
because
Mm-hmm.
then your studio is judged on one teacher, one class, one
Mm-hmm.
level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have a great 1 week intro offer. And so
Correct.
is there a conversation on the front desk about, well, you'd be
Absolutely.
better off to go with the intro offer?
Always. We get a lot of traffic because we have the A-frame signs outside
Yeah.
on the intro offer.
Yeah.
And so the front desk, they have it down pat on the intro offer.
Yeah.
And really, they do a great job of encouraging folks to try all of the different class styles
Yeah.
and different teachers.
Yeah. I always
Because
say
we
it's
have
like
heated
offering the
enough.
whole menu, right? So that people
Yes.
can dabble around
Mm-hmm.
and
And we
try.
do give people trying absolutely everything. So, which
Yeah.
is nice.
And do you get a sense of do they try to cater to somebody, like whether it's a warm yin class or a hot class? Do you get a sense of where to lead people to or what teachers might be a better fit?
Yes, because
Yeah.
we'll ask them, they all have their own unique style in
Yeah.
engaging and starting the conversation. And from there, they can guide, whether this person would be great to go straight into our advanced class, Pod
Yeah.
Tucson, or, if this is someone who just loves hot classes, we can direct them to the hot class. If this is someone who is classically fell in love with the Bikram style and still loves that, we know what teachers to send them toward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so they've got this intro. Actually, let's talk about the intro offer, because yours is a little bit different. Yours is a 1 week intro offer, and a lot of the other studios are doing 2 weeks, 3 weeks, up to a month. What was the reasoning on the 1 week for you?
It's my business mind.
Okay.
So focus on the customer experience while they're there for that 1 week.
Yeah.
Encourage them to book their next class and keep them coming back, engaging, and help them make a decision quickly.
Okay.
Versus a month.
What touch points during that 1 week? Tell me about your touch points, your communication. Like, is it automated? Is it human? Like, how do you connect?
So we have an opportunity here to improve, and we're actually working on something with that. Yeah. We have a touch point first when they come in and they get the tour, and they get a follow-up email from us. They may also get, depending upon their preferences, they may also get a text from us. Yeah. And so they enter the journey. A couple days later, we check in with them, say, hey, how's it going? Give them a little, maybe, hey, here's a little meditation for you. So it doesn't feel like it's that hard selling.
No, you're giving value during that time. Right? People don't want to feel sold all the time and ram that throat. But if they get used to you giving value, they're less likely to unsubscribe, first of all, if you're giving something.
Exactly. And then we also, we remind them when their week is ending, hey, and here are some options for you. And the team does a good job also, they check all the intro offers, and people are coming in and seeing when they're ending and engaging in a conversation before they leave the studio of, hey, what did you think? When are you planning to come back?
And is there something, do you have a system in place if, say, someone comes for one class during that week, and then you might not see them for a couple of days? Are there any touch points there to kind of save that?
So that's where we can improve. We're looking at all of those different. So I look at it as kind of a flow chart. So they're here, they came in, and what was their behavior? Did they do A, B, or C? If yes, then go do this. So looking at that tree, that decision tree of action.
And one of the things that you told me before in our little pre-chat was that there's a lot of studios that focus on the unlimited, the monthly unlimited, but you do really well with the class packs.
We do well with unlimited, but we also do really well with class packs. And it could.
And you don't have expiries on them.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. And that goes back to the guest experience. What does a conversation, you've got someone who has a class pack and it expired yesterday, but they have 5 sessions left.
Yeah.
What's that conversation? Without leaving everybody feeling icky. And interesting, after our last conversation, I went out and I took a look, and we don't have a lot hanging out there. Our class packs, our 10 packs get used up in about 2.5 months.
Right. And I think if you're seeing somebody go through class packs pretty quickly, then that's a great conversation to, hey, you'd be better off on the unlimited, right?
That's exactly what we do, right? Yeah. And I think one of the reasons, it's a twofold reason why we're doing so well with class packs. First of all, folks are still nervous about committing to someplace and having that monthly fee. And secondly, in our location, in our plaza, we have yoga, we have cycling, we have weight training, and we have Pilates. So there are a lot of options.
Yeah. So people can dabble with all of those in one location.
Exactly. And it works for all of us.
Yeah. I was looking at your classes, and
yes,
you have a massive schedule.
We do.
Did you open with a massive schedule? I mean, I think I counted some days range between 8 and 16 classes.
Yes.
So one of the things as a business coach, I'm like, oh, that's a big expense too.
Yes.
It's a big commitment to wages. And
yes. Yeah. Payroll is by far our biggest expense. We opened with about 50 classes, I think.
Yeah.
Which was a big expense to open because going back again, I take everything back to the guest experience. If somebody's going to come here, I want to give them lots of options on classes that they can take and a variety too within our platform. So, give them options of when they can take a hot class or when they can take a heated flow class. So when somebody looks at your schedule, they can go, because there's a heck of a lot of classes, they can literally go, oh, this one works for my schedule. Therefore, my investment is worthwhile. Correct. I hadn't thought about it that way, but thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. I'll actually give you another tip that I think works really, really well is for studios that I work with and for the listeners here is having a visual schedule of the week works really, really well when somebody can look at a Monday through Sunday visually, like a grid. So I quite often have my studios put a grid schedule above their embedded MindBody or whatever software.
Okay.
So that people can actually look at that. I see you writing that down right now.
I am.
Because it goes back to the guest experience, right? It's like it's the consumer mind of being able to quickly look at a week and see where it fits in with their life.
I love that. So we have it in our window, one of our windows, and we also have that good old-fashioned handouts, the weekly schedule with the class styles on the back. But I had not thought about that visual on the website.
Yeah.
So
it's just that I think it's a quick way for people to look at, oh, I can make it Monday after work. I can come in, I can drop the kids off here on Tuesday morning. And it's just like that. Okay, that fits in my life. Then I can invest in this.
That.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And what would you say your popular time slots are?
Oh gosh. So popular time slots, it's interesting. 6:30 in the morning, 8:30, 9:30 in the morning, 4:30.
So now I just want to, before you go on with that one, because that doesn't work for every studio because not everybody has shower facilities and what have you.
Right.
So somebody could come to your place, hit a hot class at 6 a.m, get showered and get ready for work, right?
We
if
have
you didn't have those facilities, that might not work for a yoga studio, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. We've got the full locker room.
Yeah. Okay.
Carry
on. So
no. That's great. That was a good call out.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of people coming in before work.
Yeah.
So early morning, mid-morning, early afternoon.
Oh, okay.
The 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then anytime on Saturday. Right. Well, we actually stagger them. We turn classes very quickly on the weekends because Tucson's an interesting dynamic. On the weekends, folks don't want to be in the studio practicing. They want to be outside,
right?
Hiking, etc. So we have, and I don't know off the top of my head, but 8 to 10 classes running between 7:30 and noon on Saturdays and Sundays.
Now I'm curious because a lot of us consultants have this conversation about Thursday nights always being the crappy night. Is that?
Ours is Tuesday.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yes. What is it? I don't know.
Thursday night, I don't know. I always joke about this, but it used to be, Friends and Seinfeld and all the good shows were always on Thursday nights, right?
Yes.
And in Canada, it's hockey. So all of those things kind of affect. But I actually, I just taught a couple of webinars on this, but putting registered series in those crappy time slots.
Say more about that.
So let's say Thursday night was our crap night. It really was terrible, terrible, terrible. As soon as we put a registered, say, beginner yoga series in there, like an 8-week series, we filled that because there's a commitment to that. Right. And series also create community and belonging. Mm-hmm. And so I've been working a lot with my studios to do a little bit of a mix of obviously mostly drop-in classes, but having 2 or 3 registered courses, because a registered beginner course, it works the same as an intro offer if you do it right.
Yes.
It's a different door that gets people in.
Right.
And again, it's because it's the same people each week. It creates community and belonging. Anyway, yeah, I do have a webinar on this, so I can actually drop that webinar.
Another excellent nugget from Michael.
Hey, this is what 13 years of running a yoga studio.
Yes.
And making all the mistakes along the way and learning from them.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me, so you're set now. You've got this amazing location. You've got this great team. You've got fantastic systems, which nothing makes me happier to hear about great systems and the importance on the guest experience, because without that, people don't feel like they belong to a community.
Yes.
So where do you see the future? Where do you see, because you're really just a baby studio. You've just got going here.
My original plan, I wanted to open 3 locations. Well, seeing as it's going to be really hard to beat this location,
right.
So I'm taking time to figure out what that is. But we are also, my program director, Shay, is amazing. We want to develop our educational content.
Okay.
And so our community loves the workshops from the teachers. We just completed our second 200-hour training. We've got a 300-hour training in the works. And as you know, there's a lot that goes on behind that.
Yeah.
And then we have mini yin trainings, hot trainings, just really developing those out more.
So those are Yoga Alliance? Are they Yoga Alliance?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Lisa, I think you're amazing.
You're too nice.
I just think that, you just have a great sense of business and community. And I think the focus again on the customer experience is, to me, that was everything. It really, when I had my studio, and I say that was the success of the studio, was creating community and making people feel like they belong. And I love that is one of the most important things to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's finish off with a few quick fun questions.
Okay.
Something that people don't know about you.
I think I said this to you, but people find this hilarious. When Brian and my husband and I were dating, he had to ask me twice to marry him, because the first time I thought he was joking. Not seriously, because he's a joker. Yeah, no. And people look at us now and they think, oh my, we've been together, 35 years. And So that's something
That's
that
cute.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's your
Poor
story,
guy.
right?
Yeah, that's our story.
Tell me a favorite biz app or website.
My favorite biz app for us is called Subsync. It
Okay. Yeah.
have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have heard of it, but I mean, it's a problem for studios.
Yeah, for us, it's a
Yeah.
dream. I mean, we manage our sub for our front desk, for our karma yogis, for our front of house, all through Subsync.
Yeah.
Teachers,
Does that
everything.
integrate? Because you use MindBody, right?
We do. And
Does
it
that
integrates
integrate with MindBody? Yeah.
yes, it does.
Yeah. And that, I mean, I can't tell you how many studios send out a general email to everybody saying, anybody available? And then nobody answers back. And so
Yeah.
do you have expectations from your staff to answer or respond or?
It's interesting. We haven't had to put up expectations because as soon as a class goes up,
Yeah,
it's gone. Somebody
is that
takes
right?
it.
Oh, that's a really good.
Yeah, very rarely have we had an issue. Very rarely.
Yeah, and you have a lot of classes too.
We do over
Yeah.
75. Yeah.
Yeah. And if one
Yeah.
teacher goes down that's teaching a lot of classes, that's a lot of people
Right.
having to fill that in.
Well, and I'll just give you an example. We were one of the sororities in town, to settle their mind from finals. They booked 2 private sessions over the weekend. And one of the teachers got sick and he's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. One of the other teachers just, boom, they resolved it on their own and
Isn't that
went in
nice?
and
Not
took,
having to
yes.
include you and your team.
Oh, I didn't even know about it. Yeah. Till
Yeah.
I got a text. Yes. It was
Just
fabulous.
a quick question on that. Does it take into, because I know that when I still teach 3 virtual classes, and I know I care about my students so much that I know that a certain teacher or a certain level is going to be a better fit than another. Does it take that into consideration at all?
So it does. What it takes into consideration is the program director, Shay,
Yeah.
on setting up who's qualified to teach what.
Okay.
And also folks know we don't have a lot of turnover. And so folks know, oh, that's Oscar's class. I'm a good fit for subbing Oscar's class or Brandy's class. Or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. A favorite personal app or website?
You're going to think I'm nuts.
I already do. No.
It's seriously Google.
Okay. Yeah.
I know. It's so underwhelming. I Google all the time. I couldn't live without Google. It changed my life.
Yeah.
I do everything on Google.
I think I Siri more.
Do you? I need
to.
I don't have Siri or the what are the home ones? Alexa.
The Alexa and Google and yeah.
I need that, but I don't have it yet. But I need that.
I love, I literally will. I'm going to actually put my phone down here so it doesn't come on. But I will be like, hey, such and such, what's my schedule today? And it reads out my schedule to me. I love that.
Okay. All right.
But you have to have your whole calendar in the Apple world for that to happen.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And I live by my calendar. Without it, I would be so lost.
Yes, I hear you.
Lisa, can you just tell people where they find you, where you find your website?
Absolutely. Yes. TucsonYogaPod.com. And Tucson, it's TUCSON. And then you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at YogaPod Tucson.
I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh,
and
my
next time I'm in Arizona, I'm going to be coming to visit you. And I'm going to tell you a little self-confession here.
Yes.
I've never taken a hot yoga class.
Oh, well, we will get you set up.
Which is really bad, right?
That's not bad. No, it's not bad at all. But you know what? If you get here and it's 100 degrees and you say, I don't want to take a hot yoga class, you don't have to. You can take one that's not heated.
Oh, lovely.
So,
Well,
Yep.
thank you so much for taking the time. And it's just
Oh,
been a
Michael, this
pleasure
was such a
getting to know
pleasure.
you and a great connection. And
Yes.
I just love meeting dynamic studio owners like yourself. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It's such an honor.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
You too. I work with two types of yoga studio clients to help them put structure and systems in place. Brand new yoga studios, this is the time to invest in a business consultant that can help you save money and time by not making the mistakes that so often happen. Get set up the right way once. And existing studios looking to put a better structure and systems in place. If you've got anything out of this podcast or any of the other podcasts with amazing studio owners, is that those systems give you freedom and way less stress. So start by heading over to my website, yogabizcamp.com. Click on the video at the top of my site, answer a few simple questions which will lead you back to book a no obligation, no cost booking with me and have a chat to see if I can be of help to you. Become one of the next generation of Yoga Biz champs. Again, that is yogabizcamp.com. If you enjoyed this or any of the other episodes, please take a moment to follow, like, and review. That little bit of effort means a lot to me, and it also helps this podcast greatly. Thank you.